Hey, it's my turn again. Atlas here. Normally I'd be doing this in my bedroom with my trusty Ozzy Osbourne painting, but today I'm recording not from home because I have stuff to do tonight and I want to get this done before the stream comes out. Oh, who am I kidding? This will come out right after the stream probably shows us something bonkers and I'm going to have to redo everything. How about leaving a like or a comment or something if you feel like it? Helps the channel out, helps us get seen, all that good stuff. But on to business. You know what's fun is some of the cards we were shown last week, which is why you clicked on this, I presume. Uh, I'm not really going to cover all of the Token Rambu or the Monster Box stuff in detail, mostly because we're not getting the Monster Box stuff in English, I don't think. And the Token Rambu stuff, while good, I guess, will probably fade from memory as quickly as it did last time. Also, we kind of just didn't care. Yeah, let's get on with it. What I will say is that the support itself looks nice in terms of the effects. Like, you got a guy who can countercharge if you Persona Road that turn. You got a decent unhit effect that can search your Persona Ride 4 next turn. And two 5k grade ones that either make your board less of a minus when calling from hand or become a 10k booster. And that's fine. I think my main problem with Token Rambu was that even if all of your effects are cool or the boys are, what, swordy? Is that a word? Sword-ish? The backgrounds basically all look the same, which makes the cards look the same. You got gold background, you got silver background, or sometimes a light gold background. Scandalous. The only thing I can really enjoy out of the Sword Boys are the abs. Yeah, boys. Get shredded. So what else do we have for reveals this week? We have Aichi and Kai's gender swaps, with the grade 2 allowing you to keep your Trick Star back in play when you play it, as well as power it up when attacks. I'm not sure if this one earns its keep for a long time at least, but it's a free revival. What are you going to complain about? I've heard of folks using Trick Star as their starter instead of the on-ride draw one, so that you don't have to search it. It's always there, and you can Soul Blast it for something and then pull it out of the drop zone with Nirvana, and now this gal. Nothing wrong with that. There's also Zara, who becomes an 11k if you're mid-ride chain, if you're on the grade 1 or 2, or you just have copies of those on Rearguard Circle with her. This is nice when it comes to numbers, but I doubt it's going to be going anywhere. Overdress is a wonky lineup, and being a big booster and that's it doesn't feel like it's worth it all that much. I feel like Matt would probably be like, no, you got it wrong because X, Y, and Z, but this is my turn, so I will be wrong, and that's okay. Maybe it's a one or two of, not sure, because as the game goes on and the opponent realizes if they kill Ryu or Rhino, they take pressure off themselves. So it'll be like, I'll attack your grade 2. That thing's a 6k now. You're like, oh, cool. Great. Next up for Dark Zone, we got Diabolos Madonna Viola. If you got Bruce on Vanguard while she's attacking, you can Counterblast 2 for a 10k buff for the whole turn. Counterblast 2 sounds steep on its own, but remember Final Rush doesn't Counterblast all that much as Barrow Magnus does, and it lasts for the entire turn. So if you restand her, that's essentially one Counterblast for the skill, where you do it once for one attack and then once for the other attack, if you want to look at it that way. Solid common, I guess. I could see it being a good budget option, or at least around for a little bit. Next up, we have Diabolos Edge Gantry, something like that. So it's another grade 2 for Dark Zone. He's a Soul Blast 1 to lock your opponent out of intercepts for the turn, and if you're in Final Rush, he gets plus 5k. You're not using this in Barrow Magnus for a multitude of reasons, but early in this, the overdress format where people are working with less cards in general, shutting off intercepts is kind of a big deal. Especially against something like Bastion, which has such a wonky lineup that it has to give his grade 3s intercepts and power, so cutting that off can really cripple them. So it's a small effect with a big impact, I think. And speaking of Bastion, now for the coup de grace of the roundup. Once again, Keter Sanctuary gets really, really good stuff. And I don't know if the United Sanctuary decks of old, all 3 Paladins, Genesis, OTT, all that stuff, combining into one nation made of all the broken paladin support made it even more broken. But all the stuff that they're getting, especially for Bastion, has just been fantastic. Like, if an awesome Shadow Paladin card was a sugary treat, like a cupcake, the Keter Sanctuary support that we're getting overall is the pancreas-destroying sugar water you give to hummingbirds. So, to start off, we have Line Up Chosen Knights. Sweet name. It's an order, which, while costing a sort of steep Counterblast and Soul Blast, it gives you a multitude of effects based on how many grade 3s you have on board. So if you got 2 or more, one of your dudes gets 5k, which that's not really worth it. If you have 3 or more, this counts your Vanguard, by the way, so if you have like a front row of grade 3s, this sets it off. It replaces itself by letting you draw, and then if you have 4 or more cards on, or grade 3s on board, it turns it into a +1, because you get the 5k, the draw, and your Vanguard gets an extra drive check, which in Keter Sanctuary can turn into an even bigger tempo swing. Hell, this thing is kind of sort of decent in Hexa Orb, which is, kind of the redheaded stepchild of the Keter Sanctuary, because you can make your prediction stuff have some more oomph, right? Okay, I'm going to draw, I'm going to put this trigger back on top, and I know I'm getting an extra drive check, so cool. But what if I don't have a lot of grade 3s on board? Doesn't that make Line Up Chosen Knights lackluster? Fear not, commenter, because now we have Cortez, I think her name is, Cortez? Carmen Sandiego, who, if she's drive checks, calls herself to an open rearguard circle. But doesn't that suck if my front row is full like it should be? No, because she then gives herself boost until end of turn. You ever get a free 13k booster? You do now. This thing is so dang flexible it makes my face hurt. If you're playing Hexa Orb, sticking her back on top of deck is a thing you can do, and then you get to drive check her and then call her to rear. And that's not even who she's made for. She's made for Bastion, obviously. But she can fill so many niches and do so many things. Being a 13k boost for the turn is quite nice. She's kind of a Garnet in hand, my Yu-Gi-Oh! Fans out there outside of that. But that means she's just plays like a techier role in Bastion. She'll probably be like a 2 of. And a larger one in Hexa Orb who can manipulate cards from their hand to the top of the deck, drive check her, and then get her effect off. Still, this thing is great, and I love her. I kind of envy Root Beer for being the one to play Keter Sanctuary, and I'm over here with the Stoicheia stuff. I just have to appreciate the design for what it is. So, that's pretty much the roundup. Like I said before, leave a like or a comment or something. Helps the video get seen. If you want to help support us in the channel and in the podcast, we got a Patreon. Link is in the description down there. $5 a month, that's a cup of coffee once a month. You get free bonus episodes every week. We got guests on there sometimes. Also, thanks to our $10 patrons, Darren and Cole. And if you want to follow me, Matt, Root Beer, or just the podcast by itself, social media is in the description. See you later for the podcast, and bye, everyone.